In this video, I'll be nitpicking on some of the gameplay of RE2. Now keep in mind that most of these issues that I have come from replaying the game. You probably won't experience these issues on your first playthroughs. Why do these issues matter? I think a part of the game, the way it was designed, it was to add replay value to it. So I think if these issues were ironed out or fixed, it will make the game better. So here's a list of random problems that I think the game has and stuff that could have been done better. The game's difficulty. Dealing with zombies can be way too easy unless you handicap yourself. While a lot of people have said hardcore is hard because of the amount of headshots it needs to kill a zombie, if you shoot the leg, it will only take 2 to 5 shots to cripple them and make them a crawler. This in my opinion makes the game more boring since zombies will no longer leap at you and instead crawl. You can even go around them easier. Even if you were to avoid this playstyle of shooting the legs, you'd feel encouraged to do it sometimes. Zombies seem to stagger more when shot in the legs, so to avoid RNG headshot shenanigans, you'd go for the legs. Another thing is how much ammo it saves in comparison to going for the head. There's also certain trigger events that you will learn when playing the game. Like this guy won't ever do anything unless you shoot him or climb this ladder. Or this guy will never wake up unless you get too close to him. Zombies sleep. Single zombies are incredibly easy to avoid. Bait out their lunch like this, and after the second lunch you can just get past them. They won't even do anything to you even if you touch them. Self-defense items. I'm not a fan of how many self-defense items you can take. In my opinion, to make the game more interesting, or hardcore at least, you should be allowed to have only one between the 3 types. Knife, flashbang, or grenade. The interesting aspect is that 2 of those will be consumed permanently, but have a powerful effect. The knife can be taken back if the enemy is killed. And about the grenades, with how powerful they are and how many there are, I find it absolutely ridiculous that you can carry 3 of one type and take up only 1 inventory slot. Routing and replayability, especially in A site. Once you replay the game a couple of times, you find a route that will almost always work for you. And that's because the game doesn't open up until you get to Mr. X. There's no real reason to take any other route unless you've forgotten an item or force yourself to. That's because the game also doesn't give you a reason to. I've heard a couple of complaints about Mr. X. I don't see why. He's easily the best part of the game because he makes the gameplay more dynamic. But, cheesing Mr. X. This guy is so cheesable. As you replay the game, you will know which areas are safe, and all you have to do is enter it and he will leave you alone. What about ladders? You're giving full iframes and you can even juke him on it. Oh, I also forgot to mention, this also applies to zombies. There are some areas that zombies can't even enter or leave. Can't swap shoulders. The doors. Healing items. I think healing items should have a delay when you use them. Right now you can just run through something and get hit, and it wouldn't matter because you can just pause the game and just heal yourself instantly. A good example of is RE5. While you still get the heal, if you're in a bad spot, you still get hit. An interesting approach is to make the delay item dependent. Healing sprays and the more powerful herb combinations have the biggest delay, while lesser healing items like the normal green herb can have smaller ones. The sound. Unnecessary unskippable downtime.
Leon, it's Marvin.
The Leon sewer and the Sherry sections. Easily the worst parts of the game in terms of gameplay. Why can't we skip these? These sections add nothing to the gameplay besides Leon wasting 1 bullet and getting a free grenade. Why isn't there a chest here? Are there no express elevators? No destruction on props. The knife FPS bug never got fixed in the end. Speedrunning is the competitive part of RE2 makes, so it's funny to me to see that it didn't get fixed. The SMG with the suppressor. Now this thing, dude, is broken. This weapon is just bonkers. Why does it destroy limbs in 3 shots? And my final nitpick, screw the sewers.